Hi everybody, my name is Patricia Cori. I'm the author of the Syrian Revelations and other books that I hope you've read, and I've decided to do an impromptu video, just me talking from the heart, no prep. Well, none of my conversations or interviews are prepared, it's always intuitive, but today I especially want to address some of the things that are occurring, people's experiences, people's disappointment, excitement, and all of it relating to the information that I've received from the Syrian High Council. So for starters, it's December 25th, the Christmas day. For those of you who practice Christmas, for others, it's whatever belief system you're in. I celebrate it with you, and most of all, I celebrate the great shift that is upon us. I'm talking about that today. So I invited you all to join me on the 21st. I was in a very deep experience at 4 a.m. on the 21st and gave some directions to people that were interested in taking part in that with me as to how to meditate and what to do, because the council gave me some very, I would say, more controversial than usual information about what would transpire at that time. I thought I would probably not talk about it for a while because, as I've said over and over again, I prefer not to focus on my own experiences, but to help others find theirs. But in this case, since so many of you did take part in that, I would like to share with you that what I was given was that there is a lot of maneuvering going on many levels, completely shifting now the space-time continuum. And bear in mind that I have no science training, so whatever comes forward here is what I've gathered and gleaned from my experience with the council. I studied foreign languages in college and never had a day of physics, so it can be a little heady for me to even approach the subject unless it's coming through as channeled information. But I do want to share with you that what they explained was that our military-industrial complex, which we all know and love, has been doing a lot of maneuvering of the space-time continuum. They've learned how to punch holes in it, creating tubes, or what do they call them? I won't dare call them stargates, but let's call them wormholes into other realities. The time-space that's the word. I call it the time-space continuum. I think it's really called the space-time continuum. Who cares? So, the space-time continuum, have discussed often, is an artificial construct, and this is very much part of 3D reality, and it is coming down. It is breaking down. It is being maneuvered, manipulated, and shifted, and it is also shifting because we are shifting out of 3D. Meanwhile, we have incredible science playing all kinds of games with our reality, manipulating, shifting, changing reality. And the council themselves have said that they are capable of speeding up or slowing down the space-time continuum on other levels, not just the council, but other levels of consciousness, other beings can play with that. They describe it as a sort of rubber band which can be stretched and expanded and inevitably will snap back to its former reality for a certain time, and then eventually will just shift completely. So here we go. Let's talk about what's happening. I have talked at length about how time is speeding up, and this is not new, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I think we're all very aware of that now, and we're feeling it. We've been feeling it, but something else has been happening in the last few days. It's now the 25th. Since the 20th, 19th, 20th, there has been a remarkable change. And for me, it's even been earlier than that, and that would be for about 2 weeks now. I have been completely altered as far as my circadian rhythms of sleep. My energy levels are different. Everything is different, and I notice. And the thing is, when people are writing me and saying, well, what's going to happen? Why hasn't anything happened? The council said we would have an illumination. The council never said that. What the council said was, at the end of 2012, you are prepared to move into the fourth dimension. And be prepared. It might be very different than you think. And it's going to be faster than you think, faster than the speed of light, they say. And in fact, you might not even know it's happened. It's going to take time for you to understand that it's happened, because, for starters, your expectations of what it's going to be like are going to set you up for not recognizing what's happening. I'm going to be really outlandish today, more outlandish than I usually am, and I would like to suggest that we are already moving into the fourth dimension. Here are my clues. Almost everybody that's writing to me is describing how they have completely altered their sleep cycles. Some people who didn't sleep well are sleeping 12 hours a day. Others, like me, I'm not sleeping. I cannot sleep at night. I'm awake all night. This has never, ever happened in my life. I'm an 8-hour sleeper. I'm nocturnal now. I'm awake all night. I sleep very little to recover that sleep in the day. And I feel the shift of it. The energy, the subtle energy is noticeable. Everything feels just different. It's like being in some way in a parallel reality, which is very possible. Perhaps when the council say, we're so close, we're just a breath away, what they're talking about is our expectation, which is the word, of moving through the astral cords of the sun. The whole process described, we anticipate as this great galactic movement. But they say, we're close, we're so close, we're only a breath away, describing how the layers of parallel realities are not necessarily in distance as we understand it. So I just wonder, when people are describing some of the symptoms that I'm having, one of them is the need for water, and this came up in the message that I brought 3 days ago from the council. Drink, you're going to need a lot of water, a lot of water, and of course avoid meat, which is par for the course with their message. And pay attention to the animals. So many of you are reporting this, that you're seeing the animals drinking like crazy. Mine are. For 2 days they didn't touch food, all they did was drink water. To the point that I was worried, really, really worried, that my little dog was going to explode. But I had the warning from the council, so I was all right with it. I just watched her, and I too was fasting and only drinking water. And the tune-up that I got was the most powerful that I've ever had in my journey with the council, in the crop circle, in the Julia set. I can't remember anything more powerful than I've had in this moment on the 21st of December. At 4 a.m. And I think some of you who are communicating with me might have noticed that I've got this different vibe going on. I don't know how to describe it. But at any rate, I want to reassure you, if you are going through change, remember that the council described this, the fourth dimension, whereas a lot of people are talking about we're going to move right into the fifth dimension and everything is going to be bliss. The council have always said, sorry, you've got to go through the fourth dimension first. It's a clearing station and you can stay there quite a long time. And in this fourth dimension, you face your karma as individuals and as a planet. Right? So here we are. We've got this outrageous situation going on this planet and this incredible shift of so many souls who are feeling the enormity of change. And I would like to suggest that it is very, very possible, even though it makes no sense to us at all, even though I know that I'll be maligned for being out of my mind, which doesn't faze me anymore. But I would like to contemplate, I would like to share with you, consider that perhaps what's happening is that we are entering. Some people have already entered completely. Some people are entering into that state, another state of consciousness, the fourth dimension. And you will be challenged if you, as the council said in the books, if you haven't cleared your miasms, I think they called it, you could blow your cork. You need to clear out your energy fields now. So I'd like to invite you once again. Please try to stop eating meat for a while. It is jamming you up. People that are writing me, I got a letter, or let's say an email. Yeah, dear Patricia, I'm really annoyed with your constant reference to vegetarianism. I had a nice juicy steak last night and a glass of wine, and I don't care about what you have to say, and I don't believe anything, and I don't feel anything. It's like, okay, eat your juicy steak and don't feel anything. But those of you who want to feel the shift, all I'm suggesting is I'm not trying to impose any values on you. I don't want to have a big debate about meat and vegetarianism. It's all your own choice. But if you're then disappointed because you can't feel, I would like to suggest that maybe you can try giving up these dense foodstuffs for a while and allow your body this fluidity that will help you serve as an electromagnetic biological device for the energies that are flowing into the planet, that are flowing through us all right now. And if you don't feel anything because your expectations haven't been met, let go of your expectations. Let go of them. It's most likely that what's going to happen is not going to appear as you had designed it in your mind, because there is so much rhetoric, there is so much illusion, fantasy out there, images, stories, that we've built up an idea of what this is going to look like. And it's never the way we think it's going to look. Is it? So I want to reassure you. Someone else wrote to me and said, I'm having a hard, terrible time. What's happening? I'm a spiritual person and everything's falling down around me. The old is going. You will be faced with your karma. You will be faced with your fears. Big time. The council also described this fourth dimension as your shadow no longer being behind you, but standing in front of you. Guess what? If you are in turmoil, that's what's going on. I invite you to be bold and daring and face it, whatever that is, whether it's loneliness, loss, grief. Oh, and how about how many people are passing over? So many souls are passing over at this moment. It is uncanny. And my small community, I know at least 10 people that have passed in the last 48 hours. So bless them. They've decided to go over to the other side and go through this from over there. I want to send you messages of hope and love. And yet, as you know me, I do not shirk from discussing the problems, the obstruction, and the difficulty that we're facing now. I'm not afraid to talk about that. I don't want you to be afraid to talk about it either. Talking about it brings it into the light. Shine the light into the darkness. The way to what's the word? Sometimes words delude me. There's one. Sometimes words elude me. Talk about a pun. Oh my goodness. The light disintegrates the darkness. It can't hold up to the light. Hold the light out there. Look at the darkness that you fear so much. Let's talk about it. We don't have to dwell on it. Let's talk about it and bring it into the light. People are being manipulated into emotional behavior, and we are disagreeing, so we're warring with each other. I cannot believe that the name calling and the anger, the rage of people who are disagreeing on aspects of what's coming down now, spiritual people who are calling each other names. I've been called some buttes. And I watch this unfolding. I cannot help but ask myself, are people still not understanding that this is all a manipulation? When you are reacting from emotion, it is because you're being manipulated either by external forces or by your own demons. And it's going to get bigger and stronger and more angry and more violent and more frustrating and upsetting if you don't get in touch with it. Because as this current moves through us and our sun is just morphing like crazy, you're going to be struggling unless you deal with it. So please, please, please remember, when you have that knee-jerk reaction, the anger, the ridicule of others, this is about you, and you need to get in touch with it so that we can get on with the good work of unifying all these souls, all these good people who want a better world. Even if you're angry and upset about an issue, it doesn't mean you're not a good person. I'm not suggesting that. If you don't agree with me, I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that now is the time to get in touch with that emotional body, those feelings. Is that your old karma coming up that you're dealing with head on, as the council described? Your karma standing in front of you? And if so, how are you going to heal it, clear it, so you can move on from this shifting sand of the time that we're in? I don't know. I have no exact answers here. I'm going through it myself. I'm trying to understand it. I'm tired sometimes, so I'm not sleeping, so I'm finding it hard to function in the same way I usually do. But one thing I know is I'm elated. I'm full of joy and hope and excitement, and I want to transmit that to everyone. So please, before you start saying, it's not happening, it's not reaching my expectations, why didn't a light go off, I thought we were going to be instantaneously enlightened, I thought we were going to just let go of all of this expectation. The universe doesn't work like that. You want linear answers. The comment was December 21st is when everything shifts. This is what's in the book. And December 21st, everything shifts and you start to move through. And so people are like, why aren't we through? Why isn't everything blissful? Why is everything still so dark? Pay attention. Everything is what you create. And if you can just get in touch with yourself, if you can feel what's moving through you, if you're aware of your energy body, you cannot help but notice that there is a quickening. So my recommendations are, do what you can to avoid eating meat. Eventually that ethical question needs to be addressed. Eventually, the idea of a loving world where only peace reigns, you need to address that if you're still eating animals. The bloodlust is there, whether it's in the supermarket packaged with pink dye or whether it's ritualistic in a tribe somewhere in the middle of the desert. It's still dense, low energy. And I know you'll all get upset about that and tell me I'm preaching too much, but I'm trying to help. So please tolerate that opinion and know that I'm not trying to preach. I'm trying to help, all right? So try to do what you can, especially in this time, because these are days of immense energy shifting. Dump the meat. Stop eating the meat. Drink massive quantities of water. Be as still and silent as you can. Take as much time as you can to rest. If you're like me and you're not sleeping well, take note. I'm starting to actually journal the hours of my sleep, looking for signs and to understand what's going on. And pay attention to the animals around you. The animals are behaving very strangely. It's not normal for 2 dogs in a household to immediately stop eating at the same time that I did and to drink obsessive quantities of water at the same time that I was, having been guided by the council to do that. So something's going on here. I'll be back with another segment soon, but I did want to tell those of you who did feel this, have shared it with me and on your own, that there's more to come. So stay tuned. Mother Earth is shifting. And we are going along for the ride. And it may not be what you expected it to be, and it may not be as quickly or slowly or whatever you designed it to be. But the time-space continuum is most definitely shifting, which is what was described, what we were told by the council. And here we are facing new realities. It can be scary, or it can be joyful. It's up to you. All right, that's Patricia Cori's statement for the day. Thank you for listening. I'll come back. I wanted to make this video rather than try to write this all down, and I will come back with another segment. I love you. Be blessed.